This video is going to show you how to get started with the album cover design. And as a recap, this design is created in Photoshop. You can also use Illustrator if you wish. But before you get into designing digitally, you will need to do your 3 sketches first, and then you'll just simply upload those sketches to your Google Classroom assignment as an image. So if you did them by hand, you'll just take a picture of them with your phone and upload. And then if you did them digitally, you'll just upload them digitally. So as like a JPEG or a PNG. So these are the sketches we're looking for. You're just coming up with your different ideas. I do want to see evidence that you were thinking about different ways to convey your album cover. Now, your album cover can be for a musical artist, just like one musical artist. It can be for a band, or it could also be a playlist. So feel free to kind of play around with that. The musical artist that I chose is the group The Red Hot Chili Peppers. And so these are just photo inspirations and then photos that they have taken over the years. I can also look up different albums that are already existing because I don't necessarily want to copy an album cover that they've created, but I can use that as inspiration if I need to. So there's a few different examples there for me to use as reference. Now, let's say that I've already done my sketches and I'm ready to start. Now I'm going to open up the template. And the template is right here. It's a PDF. So you can go ahead and click on that. Click on the 3 dots, upper right-hand corner, open a new window, and then we're going to press the download button. Here's the download button. Now, since it's a Photoshop PDF, it will preserve the layers. Go ahead and click download, and it should go to your downloads, and you should be able to open it. Now, while that's doing it, because it's taking its sweet time, I'm going to talk about illustration. So what counts as illustration? It says basically anything that you actually create. So this includes the paint bucket, the brush tool, the pencil tool, gradient, pen tool, shape tool, tracing over an image with the brush tool or pencil tool. That counts too. The type tool. All of these things are things that you actually have to make on Photoshop. Whatever is not made by you, so let's say you just copied a background image or you stole a photo from somewhere, that is not illustration. That's just copying and pasting and doing like a composite image, which there's nothing wrong with you including some of that. You just want to make sure that at least 50% of your design is illustrated. And if we look at the rubric here, you'll see how much of the grade is counting on that. And I really want to emphasize that. So we'll pull up the rubric here. It's just so slow. Come on. Oh dear. Download that if it'll work. There we go. Okay, so it's downloaded. Here's the rubric. And the rubric shows that 25% of the grade is the planning and illustration. So doing the 3 sketches, making sure at least 50% of the work is illustrated. Then you'll see 25% is the typography category. So making sure you chose a typeface that makes sense. You include the name of the album or musical artist on the cover, included the songs listed on the back cover. The font should be readable. So think about color and size and stroke and glow and all those other things you can add to it. And then the print design. This is just making sure you actually use the template. You included a design on each spine. You included the barcode and parental advisory label. You may choose to print it if you want. It's not required to be printed, but that's part of the print design too. It's just if you did print it, it should be carefully cut, spines folded, make it look really nice. And then that last category is craftsmanship. So did you do 300 DPI resolution? If you use the template, it should already be set up for that. You need to design both the front and back cover, make sure that they're related to each other somehow. It looks neat and finished. Images are cut out cleanly, good manipulation, and then the final work is saved as a PDF and uploaded to Google Classroom. So you'll upload it as a PDF when you are all done. So make sure it's PDF, not PSD. Okay, now we're going to go to Photoshop, exit out. We're going to say File, Open, or just Open, and I'm going to find that template. Okay. It's going to open up, and you'll see, if I click on my layers here, you'll see there's some different layers. So there's like the front cover, back cover. This just says created by Bailey Kwan. This is just my like little like pat on the back for designing it. You can turn that off if you want. And then this is just like our background. So you're not going to really mess around with a whole lot of this. Like you'll leave it as is. Don't mess around with the size, okay? Don't like do Control T and start messing around with the size here, because otherwise it's going to be the wrong size for the CD cover. From here, you probably want to start with just your background. So I could go in, and if you don't see it, you can right click and choose paint bucket. I'm going to make sure my colors are up, which are right here. So let's just say I'm going to choose a random color here. I will just choose a blue color, and then I'll just fill in the front cover. That right there is illustration, okay? It was really quick, but I went ahead and filled it with color. I count that as illustration for this assignment. Now let's say instead of a solid color, I want to do a gradient. In that case, I need to select just the box. So I'm going to go into my magic wand tool. If you don't see it, it may be underneath object selection or quick selection. We'll grab the magic wand tool, click on that box now that it's selected. Now I can go in, right click, go to my gradient tool, whatever gradient I have selected here, I'll just choose a random one, and then I can click and drag and make my gradient. So something like that. And then if you need to change it, you're going to go in and adjust your selection. So I can reselect that. If I need to reselect it, maybe I need to adjust the gradient. I could redraw it as needed, as long as that selection is on it. And then Control D to deselect. So we'll say that's my background just for now. And then same thing with the back cover. So if I make sure I'm on the back cover, I can go ahead and use the magic wand tool, back cover, select that, fill it with a gradient or color or whatever I want to fill in the back cover with. And then the spines. So the spines, you can decide if you want to make sure that there's a solid color in there, or if you just want to leave it white or fill it in with a color. So let's say I want to fill in the whole thing all together. I can use the magic wand. I'm going to click on the spine, hold down Shift, and you'll see I can click more than one area here. So now I can go in with that gradient tool, and you'll see it fills the whole thing in. Whoops, except minus that one. I'm going to make sure I select that again. Here we go. Hopefully this works. Shift, click. There we go. Let's try that again. I think I just had the outside edge. Yeah, there we go. I had the outside edge selected. Okay. And you can still see the lines there, which are great. This is where you'll fold along that spine edge. So now at this time, I'm going to say File, Save. We'll just save it as the PDF. We'll keep working. Now I'm going to go into maybe getting a picture of them on there. So we'll just find a picture of them. You are allowed to use Google Images for this. I'll just steal this one right now because it's got a nice solid color. I'm going to right click and say copy image. You could also save it, but I'm just going to copy it because I'm feeling lazy. And now I can say Control V. It's really big, so we're going to resize. Control T. A lot of the things we've been using a lot of already. Now I can't see it because the order of layers is off. So I'll just hit enter for now, and I'll drag this layer above. There we go. Okay, so there they are, and I can make them bigger if I want, but I'm going to actually erase the background. So that's where your magic eraser comes in handy. I zoomed in a lot because I wanted to be able to see them. So yep, I erased part of the shirt and his head. So let's drop that to like 15. That's better. Try not to erase their bodies. It's okay because I can always go through and touch it up with the regular eraser tool, but I want to make sure I'm not erasing anything I don't want to erase. Here we go. Okay. Let's see if I get any closer. Might have to zoom in extra on this one. There you go. Now, if you have an image with a very busy background, it may make more sense to actually just cut it out with the lasso tool and then go in with your regular eraser, which is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to set the hardness to 100 because I don't want it to be really fuzzy when I erase. I want it to be like a clean line. So now I can go in and kind of touch up. Like that area I noticed I erased away too much. So I can use my eraser to just kind of touch areas up. Make sure that's erased. I can switch back over to the magic eraser to erase the inside of the hand there. There we go. And then more of just your regular eraser here. There we go. So feel free to play around with the size of the eraser as well. And then switching back and forth between the different kinds of erasers is more than welcome as well. The magic eraser is nice just because it gets rid of so much in such little time, but sometimes it erases away too much of the area, and then you're stuck. So you definitely want to take it slow, zoom in, use your magnifying brush to zoom in, zoom out. You can, go all the way zoomed into like every single little pixel if you want to. If you want to be really extra careful, you can do that. There we go. Going in here, touching up my areas. The reason why you zoom in too is it's just going to help you be extra careful and making sure you're not missing any areas. That is pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's not a bad start either. It's good for what we're trying to do here. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out. Let's see if I missed any areas on the outside. Yep, there's a little bit there. Just touch that up. Okay, I'd say that's a pretty good start. Oh, a little bit there. Okay. So that's if you want to cut out an image and put it somewhere, like if you want to cut out a portrait or something, that's a really good way to do it. I usually keep it on a separate layer. And then from here, I can kind of decide, am I going to keep it like in the middle? Do I want to rotate it? So I just did Control T there to resize and rotate. Like, what do I want to do to make it a little more interesting? I'm definitely going to change the color scheme too. I don't really like these colors for the background, but for now, this is fine. I could angle it if I wanted. I got to decide what I'm going to have them do. That's okay though. We'll just leave them there for now. I can always play around with that later. Okay, next up we need to talk about typography. So this is the name of the album and the artist. So I'm doing Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'll just go ahead. Oh dear. Red Hot Chili Peppers. There we go, if I can spell correctly. Think about what kind of typeface, why you would choose one typeface or another, or maybe you have a lot of options and you could try a variety. Maybe you're going to have, you can have the word repeated, like I could have Red Hot Chili Peppers repeated over and over and over and over again or something. You can play with this. So have some fun with it, spend some time on it. I have a lot of typefaces just already downloaded from my own work, but I'll kind of walk you through downloading typefaces. So if we go into Google Chrome, go to defont.com or any other font website, and you want to download a typeface, you can find different types. Oh, there we go. Make sure English is selected. You can find different typefaces, like different categories here. So here we even have things like horror-inspired typefaces, like kind of scary slasher film typefaces. We have Gothic or black letter typefaces. There's script or calligraphy typefaces. And even just your basic, there's nothing wrong with downloading a nice sans serif or serif typefaces. There's actually some pretty cool typefaces out there that are just what we would consider basic, quote unquote. Lots of serif typefaces here too. Let's just say I really want this one. So it's like Zasline. I'm going to download. Goes to my downloads. You're going to click on the zip file. And then you can double click on the OTF file or TTF file. Double click, install. And now at Zasline, it's going to be under the Z's. Now I could go in and highlight this type. So don't forget to highlight it. We're going to find the Z's. You could also just type in ZAS and that'll come up too. But I know it's going to be at the bottom. Here it is, Zasline. There it is. Okay. So I strongly encourage you to download a typeface that is different from something that's just uploaded on the computer. Now from here, I want to show you a couple things you can do with the type. So if I have the typeface tool selected and I can still highlight it and play around with it and change colors, if I highlight it, I can change the color here or whatever. Maybe I'll just choose white for now. Okay. Now if I just click out here for a minute, I'm still going to make sure that the type tool is selected, but here I could say create warp text. And this is kind of fun because you can play around with the shape of the text. So we can arc it, we can lower it. I'm just going to lower this down so we can kind of see what we're talking about here. So this is going to let you automatically warp your text. As long as you have that text layer selected, it does have to be a text layer. And then you click on the type tool, it'll give you the option to play around with this. So you can bulge it, we can make it like a flag, like wavy, and here you can even play around with the bend, like how much of a bend there is. Is it going to have horizontal distortion or vertical distortion? Fisheye, lots of cool things there. I'm just going to go back, Control Z. For now, that's fine. Some other things you might want to play around with type and then also your pictures. If you actually cut out pictures, you might want to play around with some blending options. So these are things I've kind of gone over a little bit, but I haven't talked too much about. So bevel and emboss, you can contour, texture. I'll turn that off. Stroke, that gives you an outline. So here I'll change that to black to show you. So that's an outline on the outside. I could go really big, really small. Generally, you want it on the outside, but sometimes the inside. You can also lower the opacity on that stroke if you want to. You can do inner shadow, inner glow, satin, color overlay, gradient, which you can then customize the gradient there. So here's where you can choose colors, customize your gradients as you need to. Click OK. Right click again, blending options. There's pattern overlay, outer glow, which gives you the option to kind of add a cool glow to the outside, and then drop shadow. So those are just some quick little blending options you can try. All right. So from here, once you have that in place, you can figure out if you're going to add more images or if you're going to draw something or draw a design. The back cover, you're going to need to add your barcode and then also your list of songs.